As teachers, we are required to use EpiPens, rectal medicines, or perform CPR and make other medical decisions as they arise, even if we don't feel comfortable with these medical tasks. However, we are not seen as competent enough or trusted enough by DHS to hold coffee, to keep plungers in our bathrooms, to let our children explore with water, allow children to use their own chapsticks or lotions from home without logging it.
No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the
change what is happening in the state of Minnesota, we have continually fought an uphill battle against the Department of Human Services. And that is hard to say, because the Department of Human Services targets those who speak out against it. Haley and I compiled data that encompasses 5 binders and we made the font really small so it would fit on less than 2,000 pages. It's over 3,700 pages long for just 300 out of 1,807 childcare centers in the state of Minnesota. And what that shows is that our stories as providers are true. That validates everything that we've been saying when we go to work on a daily basis. There are providers and centers who have received citations for having a stick in the yard or having a plunger in the bathroom. A citation from one center for having a dirty floor and a citation at another center for mopping the floor because children had access to a mop bucket. We cannot win. And it is for that reason that many of us closed at noon to travel up here, testify in front of the Senate, break the silence and end the childcare crisis. This data needs to be looked at and reviewed, and they can no longer ignore it. Break the silence and end the childcare crisis. Here we stand, we can do no other. Now, give me the respect that you deserve. You guys spend more time with my kids than I do. And it's laughable and infuriating that you're considered a service. You know, we're not talking about cleaning houses. We're talking about the future of my children. Like, DHS's service states on their website, like they're providing a better future for Minnesota. No, Beth, and here we grow, and all of you guys are what's providing a better future for Minnesota. So, thank you. I think part of this that speaks volumes is when we are so used to not saying anything because we haven't been able to. Because when you speak out, you get an automatic target on your back. The Department of Human Services targets providers who speak out. Our inboxes after our testimony, Brittany and I, it was horrifying to read what people shared. My DH licensor, X licensor, I asked a question and they visit my home every other week now. That is sickening. That is messed up. We are talking about children and we are talking about people. We are human beings. If the Department of Human Services would like to comb through our 5 binders of data that anyone here today can view, they certainly can. We even color-coded them. 41 violations for plungers in the bathroom. I can use an EpiPen, as I have our front yard to save a child's life, but you don't trust me with a plunger? Tell me one time a child has licked a plunger, if that's the case. And if that happened, then that was overkill on DHS's part, which is exactly what they do. We have to ensure that of all the food allergies we have, that kids don't drink other children's milk on accident. And do you know what happens if they do, according to DHS data? There is a provider who can no longer work with children because she was standing by the table when a child accidentally grabbed another child's cup of milk and maltreatment was found. That is not maltreatment. That is an accident. Maltreatment is for things that are very severe and life-threatening, which there were some terrible things to read, but they were few and far between.
I'm the director at Child's Planet for the last 10 years. The last 5 years have been a complete nightmare. The last 2 years I've been battling a conditional license where I get visited every 4 months. Yes, every 4 months. During those visits, she goes through the binders for the terms and then continues to go through my classrooms and ask them questions. In our situation, she decided to make this whole conditional license be effective July 22nd of 2015. We had 45 days to comply with certain rules, 30 days and 15 days. There were 6 terms to meet. She showed up on day 20. I did not meet the terms. I was in non-compliance. I stepped back at that point and I put it in the owner's hands because it was very clear she was starting to target me alone. She was fine with the staff, she was fine with the owners, but with me there was a problem. In 2016, my staff reached out to a DHS supervisor and complained, along with me, that this was unfair treatment based off of what other centers who shared the same licensor were getting away with. Our phone calls got ignored and dismissed. We didn't get heard until I reached out to Beth after her situation. Suddenly now I have a new licensor and a supervisor that just visited on March 13th. They're coming back again in a couple weeks, and then again every month after that. I'm a hazard to children because a family did not put that their kiddo was attending from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. I'm a hazard to children because somebody who was an emergency medical responder didn't have it clearly stated that she was trained in CPR and first aid, even though she is more trained than I am. Where was this licensor to guide me at that time? 33 citations is obscene. 19 of them were repeat. How is that even possible? When for 8 years, I had only been given 5 to 7. A week before I got married, we were given 25 citations. Why? I don't want to do this anymore. I go into work at 2:30 in the morning and I don't leave until 6, only to go back home and finish what I didn't get done during the day. What I have to hold on to besides the staff that are here, those of you, Marcy, Amanda, and Katrina, you have been through the ringer with me this whole time. And I thank you, because I know you didn't have to. So why am I a hazard? all of my parents willingly let me close my doors to be up here today. And my staff can tell you, they all said, go get them. Thank you for standing up. We need change. I need change, and so do my staff and my kids first and foremost. They do not deserve the stress of my teachers having to stop teaching to go and scrub crayon off the walls. Gabby, you can attest to doing that. I don't have time to go around and cover chipped paint. I am a teacher. I need the respect of a teacher. Something has to change. And it has to happen soon, or there's going to be none of us left.
This is the end. It is the beginning. There are 40 of us now, and there could be 400 next year, but I can tell you for sure from my email box that there are probably more than 400 now already. And they're all terrified, and they're all waiting for something to be done. And that's what we aim to do today, give everyone a voice. Here we go.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Elizabeth Bangard. I'm the owner and director of Here We Grow Early Childhood Center in Mankato, and I would hope that my other two who are here would be able to say what they need to say as well. We are here today because this bill was laid over from Monday. I spent nearly 4 hours on the phone yesterday regarding this bill, and this bill that started as a solution now has more holes in it than a colander. So while it may provide some relief, the bleeding of providers will still seep through the holes, and in turn the bleeding of our communities. We've asked nicely, we've even begged for help, yet as DHS travels around the state, they still refuse to provide any real technical assistance. Today we've had enough, so we stand together, and if you believe that the 40 of us in this room can be silenced, you would be wrong, because there are providers and families across the state participating in this by wearing black. If you truly want to stop the childcare crisis now, or as Senator Weber said in our phone conference yesterday, stop the bleeding of childcare providers, then you need to hold the Department of Human Services accountable. You need to demand that they stop using the rule and statute as a weapon against providers and restore its original intent, which is to protect children. The DHS had every opportunity to look at their own data to ensure consistency, and they did not. How can we as providers receive a citation for not keeping the floor clean as demonstrated in one correction order, yet receive a citation for having a mop bucket out while cleaning the floor in another? This department has lost all common sense. If our tax dollars are funding their salaries, then our tax dollars are enabling the childcare crisis. If our licensing fees are contributing to their salaries, then we are funding the target on our backs, and we the people are tired of it. Our demands are as follows. What measures are the Department of Human Services utilizing to ensure consistency in interpretation of rule and statute? What measures does the Department of Human Services intend to take to increase transparency with providers and stakeholders? What are the rights of providers and families? Where are they publicly listed when dealing with a maltreatment investigation? What measures are taken to audit the actions taken by the Department of Human Services? And what are the thresholds for a conditional license? We the people came together, and we will continue to do so until such a time as we are respected and the department is held accountable for their actions. We walked out this afternoon because we're tired of playing a game of chutes and ladders, where they have the ladders and we have the chutes. It is time to restore a system of checks and balances. If you, the elected officials, will not do it, then this will continue, the exodus of providers. We're tired of the joke being on us when the data demonstrates otherwise. Here we stand, we can do no other.
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, my name is Haley Blauert. I'm a preschool teacher and collaborator with the Joy Initiative from Here We Grow in Mankato. We live in a world in which we need to share responsibility. It's easy to say it's not my child, not my community, not my world, not my problem. Then there are those who see the need and respond. I consider those people my hero, Fred Rogers. So here I sit because these are our children. This is about our communities, our state, and our world. This problem is systemic, and it is the responsibility of all of us to work together to fix it. So here we are, providers, teachers, and parents, asking and demanding change. We are asking for checks and balances to actually be in place within our government. DHS holds all the power, and we need to be holding them accountable for their work, their actions, their inconsistencies, and the overreaching of power. The way the laws stand and are currently being implemented set up a lose-lose situation for providers and teachers. We need to seriously look at this to understand the significant loss in child care providers the state has witnessed over the last few years. For example, as teachers, we are required to use EpiPens, rectal medicines, or perform CPR and make other medical decisions as they arise, even if we don't feel comfortable with these medical tasks. However, we are not seen as competent enough or trusted enough by DHS to hold coffee, keep plungers in our bathrooms, let our children explore with water, allow children to use their own chapsticks or lotions from home without logging it. Furthermore, what about our rights as the teachers, the people who spend 8 to 10 hours every day with these children, to know which of our children can go potty without being directly watched? Or which children need a moment to be removed from the group to either reset or, heaven forbid, have some personal space without logging it? And yes, all of the above have been cited multiple times in multiple places. DHS should not be allowed to cite people for dirt on the floor or crayon marks on a table, but then also cite people for a mop and bucket or doing custodial work while children are present. Darned if you do, darned if you don't. We don't hold the power, but here we are doing everything in our power to make changes and end the childcare crisis in our state. However, you hold the power, and clearly so does DHS. It's time to check the power to work together to take action towards positive changes and bring the joy and freedom back to childhood and to childcare workers. The data has been there, it's public, and now we have compiled it into an Excel spreadsheet that's a little bit more easy to follow. It's your choice whether or not to look at it, but as our government and DHS, you can no longer deny a problem exists because it's here on the pages. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. My name is Sarah Nutt. I'm a community organizer and the owner of Engage Consulting in Mankato, Minnesota. I'm a small business person and the parent of a preschooler, and I'm here to testify today from those two perspectives. What I see in front of me is that you are looking at 2020 to open up the rules. Senator Weber spoke about the fact that the administration will change come 2018 because we have an election year. This problem is not going away. It's not going to get better by doing more research and having more stakeholder meetings. What we need to do right now is to use the information that we already have, that DHS collected in 2016, the information that Ms. Banger and Ms. Blauert have put together about the citation patterns, and we need to start making changes to the rules now. As a parent, when my family moved to Minnesota in 2016, I called 11 providers before I was able to find a single spot for a child who was almost preschool age. This problem hasn't gotten any better. I am blessed to have the care that I do now, but so many people are unable to find the care, and that makes my work as an employer even more difficult. It is hard to find employees that can be consistently there when they don't know whether or not they're going to have childcare. It is hard to find employers at the wages a small business owner can pay when the cost of childcare is exploding due to the crisis in Minnesota. So I sit here before you today to ask you, please do something about this. Childcare is one of the cornerstones of sustainable economic development in our state. If we do not address the childcare crisis, we are harming all Minnesotans. So please, please do something to stop this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Knapp.